Mandolin here, back with the Art of Pain. I do apologize because it has been so long since I made a video, over a month, which is I think the longest that I've gone so far. I do apologize. Many things have happened since then. I finally graduated my course for web development, so I am now a certified full stack web developer. Thank you very much. With that, my graduation, which I was very much looking forward to because as someone who did not complete high school and did not get that graduation, any and every graduation is kind of a big deal for me. It means a lot. And I was actually asked to speak there about the student experience. I was nominated by my instructional staff, and since COVID-19, everything that has happened, they closed that. So it was all virtual, which was fine. It really wasn't as much of a pain in the ass as I thought it would be, but it definitely doesn't beat the real thing. I wanted to get up on a podium and share how I felt because they nominated me and I really wanted to do it, but that's fine, you know, we have to adjust. And that's kind of what this video is about, is expectations in more than one way. So typically, if you're, let's say you live with a significant other, all right, and you've had a bad work week, you've had a bad day, and you're texting them and they're like, oh, I can't wait for this day to end, blah blah blah, I can't wait to get home and do whatever, and you expect your partner to understand this and be like, oh, okay, if that's the case, let me go out and get you flowers, or go out and get you a six-pack, or whatever you guys do to unwind or to show that you care. Every relationship is different, you know, and they don't do anything, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I expressed that I was feeling this way, and as my significant other, I was hoping that you would go out of your way to do something nice for me. And yes, in a perfect world, we would all do that. Everybody, not just the person having a bad time. We would just do that all the time for everybody, but that's not the world we live in. I apologize. My bangs are doing this thing is driving me nuts. Yeah, so in a perfect world, sure, everybody would understand these kind of not in your face subtleties, and we would adjust accordingly. But that's when expectations hurt your own feelings. You set up expectations that, beyond a reasonable doubt, probably won't happen because you expect somebody else to interpret how you're feeling and you're thinking and you're doing and project that onto a nice dinner or a date night out. Not saying those things don't happen, but if you're constantly disappointed in the way somebody else is reacting to you guys' shared life together, whether it's a friend or a spouse or a partner, however that plays out, if you're constantly disappointed, your expectations are set too high, unless, and this should go without saying, but unless they don't even meet bare minimum, okay? Not every time it's you, but not every time it's them, is all I'm trying to say. If your needs are not being met fundamentally, like at their core, not nice gestures every once in a while because they're thinking of you, you might not be in the best relationship, which sucks, but we must adjust, right? So my second little form of expectations here, and essentially how they can hurt us, is setting them too low. Kind of like what I was just saying about a relationship where you're not really getting your needs met. If that is a situation you're not getting out of, and the bare minimum is the absolute rock bottom bare minimum down here somewhere, you're also setting yourself up for disappointment. Even if you know that they won't do these things, even if everybody on your Facebook is suddenly getting engaged and everyone's happy and pregnant and getting married and whatever, you are kind of stuck in a rut. It happens to the best of us. It happens to everyone. But if you're not getting your needs met and your bar is set so low that nothing they do surprises you anymore, you need to get out. Here comes the hard part. So the last one, also while I've had this short hiatus here, my daughter turned 13. I told you guys in the past few videos in March, so March 11th, she just turned 13, and wow. I have a 13-year-old now, and it's absolutely insane, and though I'm not that old, I feel very, very old. She considers my music to be oldies. That is where we're at. It hurts my feelings. But with that, so I thought my video about anger was kind of like, I'm sorry, I keep fidgeting with that. I thought that was kind of my expose, the tell-all kind of thing, but I guess not. Because, and I found out after, that this is actually very common, and I wanted to share a few statistics on that. But once my daughter was approaching 13, and once I was thinking about what it is to be 13, and this life and our quarantine that we're all doing right now, and just all of this stuff, in the midst of all of that, I was also thinking about myself at 13, and I was a bad kid. I was not a good kid. Not necessarily, like, my fault, kind of. I fell into a crowd. I'm not gonna say a wrong crowd, but I fell into a crowd. And there was a lot of things that happened simply because I had total freedom. I had absolute total freedom. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have internet. Most of the time I didn't have toilet paper. But I had a lot of freedom, and I had a whole house to myself because my mother was not there most of the time. So you get a little older, you end up getting friends that are even older, right? And, oh, hey, let's party at this girl's house because we can. We're able to do that, so let's do it. And I ended up, I use this term very loosely, but I ended up dating somebody when I was 13. He was 19, and I will not name any names. That is not what I'm here for. I'm not trying to drag anyone through the mud. But, and this is really, really kind of soon after my grandfather went to jail, so to put this in some perspective, I ended up losing my virginity to said 19-year-old, and at the time, I thought I was the coolest person alive, because one, obviously, I thought this kid was cute, right? And I'm the cool teenager, you know? Everyone wants to come to my house, we can have parties there, we can drink in the basement, anything goes kind of thing. So I felt like I was belle of the ball. I felt awesome and really cool and whatever, you know? And now that I'm looking at a 13-year-old from a fresh perspective, from someone that is not me, that did not have my life to any extent, 13 is really, really young. Really young. Let's not get into the laws here, because obviously there's a few things that they might have to say about that, but that is very young. And when I was 19, I don't think that I found any 13-year-olds attractive. Just throwing that out there. So, I saw this documentary about the two Coreys from the 80s. I knew nothing about it. Don't shoot me, I was born in 90, okay? I knew nothing about it, but I ended up seeing this expose, and they had some professionals worked in there as well. And I come to find out, it's actually pretty common for people to start facing things once their children reach the age that they were, I don't want to say assaulted, but I was 13. I was not legally able to give consent, though I did. I was not legally able to. Long story short, the kid broke my heart after 2 weeks. Go figure. Go figure. But it is really common for these things to kind of resurface, because I thought I was done. I thought I was done with this. You know, it was a thing. It's no longer a thing. Everybody has moved past it. Everyone has moved on. And then I get a 13-year-old and I'm like, holy crap. That is really, really young. That is so young. Granted, my daughter doesn't smoke or drink or do any of the dumb things that I did at that age. Anything that I could to suppress that pain. It's so young. It is so young, and it kind of hurts my stomach a little. And it sucks because I actually still have contact with the person and his wife. She was actually a friend of mine from back then. Long story there. So it's not that I just hide from this person, or if I see them in public, I don't say hi. It's not like that at all. We've all grown up and we've grown past it. But tell me, why then does my stomach hurt at just the thought of it? Because it makes me very upset, and it actually makes me angry. It makes me actually angry to think about it. But I thought this was done, you know? I've grown past this. I've had many things happen in my life. That was like on a back burner somewhere out in space. It was not relevant until it was, I guess. And that is what I mean by expectations. I never would have thought or expected this to happen. I thought this was done. This was old news. We buried the hatchet. Everything is fine. Everyone has grown. We're fine. Until I wasn't. Until one day I woke up and my cats are trying to get in. Until I wasn't okay anymore. And now, I don't know. With the world and how uncertain everything is, I am taking the self-quarantine very seriously. As far as I know, I've not come in contact with anyone who has tested positive. But even if I just get this small, short little cold because my immune system is better, I, one, don't want to get sick at all, and two, don't want to get anyone else sick who won't be able to handle that. I know many people that are immunocompromised. I know many people that are elderly. I know many people that are currently pregnant right now in my area. It's terrifying. Didn't want to get into that too much, but I just know that I'm taking precautions. I did not bulk order or receive friggin' toilet paper. I've lived without toilet paper before, if you don't remember. My mom wasn't there much. I've done it. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the toilet paper. I am worried about what happens, though, if we don't all take these warnings seriously. I watch the news. I have followed along on Twitter. Any news source I can find that isn't ridiculous, because there's a lot of those. And yeah, I'm terrified. I'm sorry to abandon you guys in such a time of need. We have so much uncertainty. So much uncertainty going on in the world today. And yeah. Well, I want to fill you guys in a little. Tell you guys about expectations and how they're just about always harmful. They're just about always harmful. And then we have these things off from left field that we never expected at all, ever expected to have to go through again or grow from or think about until it becomes relevant. And then you're like, wow, 13 is really young. If a 19-year-old is picking up a 13-year-old from middle school, I'm just saying that would never happen on my watch. Not with my daughter. But we live different lives, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. I would never want her to experience things that I have, ever, ever, ever. I'm not a violent person, but I will be, if need be. So just sleep tight. I've got things covered on my end here. Just a lot of craziness all over the world. Check in with me. How are you guys doing? I'm sure a lot of you are taking the proper precautions, and I hope that you are. I know a lot of people think this isn't serious, but even still, what harm is it in staying home? We need to flatten the curve because our hospitals cannot take it. We don't have enough supplies. We don't have enough rooms. We don't have enough ventilators. I hope you guys are staying home. Check in with me. Let me know how you're doing. I do apologize again about how long it's been. So much has happened. So much in here and out there and everywhere in the world. A lot has happened. I hope you guys have a great day.